Welcome to our third series. This is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Now, this game is not exactly new, but it's still considered a cult classic, and it's actually kept up to date fairly regularly based on the unofficial patch. There was a recent update and release for that, actually. So, it still is surprisingly functional for a 12-year-old game. It's often considered a cult classic, but this game has it's often said to be an unfinished masterpiece of its genre. I've actually played through it before, but so I'm going to try and use that to pick the best story for everyone watching. It can go really well, or it can go not so well, but since I know what I'm doing with this, I hope, it will hopefully go fairly well. And without further ado, we'll get to character creation. We'll actually go to the character sheet. Now, there are a number of clans here. There's the Bruja. As you can see, this one is, they're primarily physically based. They get a lot of points for their unarmed and melee combat, but they fail their frenzy checks. That's not something you want. There's the Gangrel. These are ones who are generally typed as animals. They also have that negative frenzy check. They're basically they're similar to the Bruja, but they have differences in that they can shapeshift, but they really aren't that great for actually having an entertaining story. Then we get to the Malkavians, which are... their superpower is that they are insane. And you play through the game, hearing whispers, getting in arguments with inanimate objects. You'll actually see another Malkavian's house, and what a twisted nightmare straight from Tim Burton that place is. This is what we'll probably be going with. Basically, they have a balance in that they are really fun to play. The game actually is divided up into two different parts, essentially. There's the part where you can get by on dialogue, and then the part where you really need to be able to fight. Malkavians are able to walk that line based on a stealth play style, essentially. So they can be viable in both, unlike a number of the other clans. The Nosferatu, however, are actually fairly similar, but they get no social play because their weakness is that being seen as a Masquerade violation. If you get 5 Masquerade violations, it's game over. As such, they really can't get into any of the fun antics that you can as a Malkavian. Then there's the Toreador, whose superpower is being pretty. They get more social, but they're not that good at fighting. They also get more or less humanity, but in this game, unless you're trying to lose humanity, you never have to worry about it. Then there's the Tremere, who are, quite frankly, overpowered blood mages, especially in this build. They really are they're fun at first, but if you stop fighting humans and once you get to non-living entities as enemies, they actually become fairly weak. Their most overpowered attack, basically, it gives them more ammunition to throw it again by using it. As such, it can be spammed horribly when used against humans. Against vampires and other non-living stuff, it doesn't give anything back and is quickly exhausted. As such, they tend not to be too powerful, because that means they've put so many points into this one play style, and it suddenly becomes non-viable. Then there's the Ventru. They're social ones, similar to the Toreador. However, these ones are built more on Well, as you can see from their bio, they're more about working in the boardroom, essentially. These are basically, they're very good at social. They don't have the humanity shifts, but they do have some issues with blood. That will actually come up later, but we're going to be playing as a Malkavian. They're quite fun, especially when we get in an argument with the stop sign. Now, you get different dialogue options if you play as a male or a female character, but before we get to that, there's the issue of your history. These will rearrange your stats in a number of ways. Cut Rate Party Clown, for example, will rearrange your attributes to physical, mental, social, as you can see up in your sheet here. So you get 2 points to put into your physical, so your attacks and avoiding damage. You get 1 point into your mental, which can help you with guns and intimidate checks or combat and hacking, both very good. And then none into your social, which honestly are they're useful, but they aren't fundamental to actually being able to play through the game. And they're great to have, they're very entertaining, but if you play based on those alone, say a Ventru or a Toreador, you quickly find the game unbeatable. Now, you can also go with Nutty Weatherman, social, mental, physical. Another rearrangement there. Long and Littlefoot. You get an extra point in humanity, charisma, and wits, but you can't get high dex, which is extremely important. Now, of course, there is burnout. You basically smoke too much pot and now you're extremely calm, but you're not exactly bright. There's also completely bad shit. So your dementation, which is quite useful, that gets more powerful. However, you can't use your obfuscate, which is even better. So these are your disciplines. The Malkavians have auspex. They can see things around them. That's good. Dementation. Essentially what happens is you can confuse somebody and take over their mind to an extent. Then there's obfuscate. You can turn invisible and you get sneak attacks. That is extremely useful. So my preferred ones here are obfuscate, then dementate, and then auspex. So unfortunately that means I can't really pick this one. The rest of these go similarly, but we're going to take a look at the female Malkavian now because they have slightly different histories, or at least one of them is. I actually installed a mod for them because previously they were strippers, and I want to keep this channel mildly appropriate. So for their history, ex-gymnast stripper, women's prison guard, and then the rest are the same. Now, this of course, it has the same ones as Cut Rate Party Clown for the attribute order. However, as you can see, this is rather funny, I hope. Then there's Women's Prison Guard, which is like Nutty Weatherman. This one has the attributes in the order I prefer though, so we'll go with that. So then, what we're going to pick here, of course, putting our first point into obfuscate because that's quite simply one of the best ways to get through the game and be able to put points into your fun stats like persuasion, intimidation, and seduction, and to actually get good endings, well, obfuscate actually lets you get through there. Now, we also will be putting some points into perception because ranged combat is extremely important. Now, we also need to put some points into, what was it? We also need some in melee. Let's see, knowledge, computer. Inspection on its own really isn't that useful, honestly. Finance isn't either. Scholarship is somewhat, mostly in that it gives you higher persuasion, which helps you quite a bit. But hacking is as well. So we're going to put 1 point in scholarship, 1 point and 2 points in computer. Now over here we have, let's see, intimidation, seduction, dodge, and unarmed. We will hopefully not be getting into too much unarmed combat, but that does influence your ability to bite. Though we will be trying to avoid those situations, so we're actually going to be putting this point into seduction. We'll be focusing a bit more on dodge soon, though. Now here, we're going to put another point into firearms, simply because those are extremely powerful, and until we get obfuscate up to level 3 and we start getting bonus damage from sneak attacks and can actually move pretty freely, we will be fairly reliant on our firearms. Now, going back here, we can put another point into strength, because quite frankly your melee combat stat is extremely important. Now, where were we? Manipulation, no, because that just goes to haggle. Appearance gives us seduction, but we don't actually... Oh, we don't have any points here. So then let's see. There's sneaking lockpicking, which is extremely important, so we're going to be putting one in there. It looks like we have all of our points awarded, all of our points allotted. So with that, we're going to begin with a cutscene.
I want to show you something.
Good evening. My fellow kindred, my apologies for disrupting any business or interfering with prior engagements you may have had this evening. It's unfortunate that the affair that gathers us together tonight is a troubling one. We are here because the laws that bind our society, the laws that are the fabric of our existence, have been broken. As Prince, I am within my rights to grant or deny the kindred of this city the privilege of siring. Many of you have come to me seeking permission, and I have endorsed some of these requests. However, the accused that sits before you tonight was not refused permission. Indeed, my permission was never sought at all. They were caught shortly after the embrace of this child. It pains me to announce the sentence, as up to tonight I considered the accused a loyal and upstanding member of our organization. But as some of you may know, the penalty for this transgression is death. Know that I am no more adjudicator than I am a servant to the law that governs us all. Let tonight's proceedings serve as a reminder to our community that we must adhere to the code that binds our society, lest we endanger all of our blood. Forgive me. Let the penalty commence. Which leads to the fate of the ill-begotten progeny. Without a sire, most childer are doomed to walk the earth never knowing their place, their responsibility, and most importantly, the laws they must obey. Therefore, I have decided that...
This is bullshit!
If Mr. Rodriguez would let me finish. I have decided to let this kindred live. They shall be instructed in the ways of our kind and be granted the same rights. Let no one say I am unsympathetic to the plights and causes of this community. I thank you all for attending these proceedings, and I hope their significance is not lost. Good evening.
Everybody we saw there will come up later. The shadowy guy, who I called Jack, actually used to be a pirate. He's really fun to talk
Well,
to.
sire, tragic. My apologies. But you see, there is a strict code of conduct that all of us must adhere to if we wish to survive. When anyone breaks these laws, they undermine the well-worn fabric of our centuries-old society. Understand my predicament. Allowing you to live makes me directly responsible for your subsequent behavior. So, what I'm offering is not generosity, but the opportunity to transcend the fate woven by your sire.
Multi-level marketing?
This is your trial.
You know what I mean.
You will be brought to Santa Monica. There you will meet an agent by the name of Mercurio. He will provide the details of your labor. I've shown you great clemency. Prove it was more than a wasted gesture, fledgling. Don't come back until you do. Good evening.
Yeah, Prince LaCroix is not a fun person. There's Jack again.
What a scene, man. Hoo-wee. Then it is plop you out here like a naked baby in the woods. How about that? Look, kiddo. It's probably a lot for you to take in, so, why don't you let me show you the ropes? What do you say?
Alright. And as you can see, we're crazy, so our dialogue matches. This is one of the reasons that I picked Malkavian. People will respond accordingly.
What? Oh, man. And you're a goddamn Malkavian, too. Wow. You really are fucked. I'm Jack. What's important is I'm offering help. You make it back from Santa Monica with your hide and train life stories, okay? Till then, I got about this much time. You in or out?
I'm in, mostly because we get a free gun.
All right. Why don't we, step out back here? Nice and stuffy in there, huh? This is much better. Now, we ain't got much time, but I figure somebody should fill you in on the bare bones stuff at least. Could save your hide. You look wobbly. You even had a drink yet? Oh man, we're popping a cherry here. Oh, you're gonna love this. Ah, check it out. Blood, it's your new rack of lamb, your new champagne, like your new fucking heroin, kid. Get ready though, cause hey, it's never as sweet as the first time. Down around the corner there, I saw this human, or else hope you can't find his car. Alright. You go down there casually. You creep up on him. The barrels with fangs and feet. Don't worry if you weren't captain of the wrestling team or something. Because it comes so natural you think you've done it 1,000 times already.
Will he turn into a vampire?
Forget that comic book crap, kid. It don't work that way. Now go for it. Be sure though, and this is important, so listen up. Be sure not to drain them dry, okay? It might be hard to resist, but don't kill them.
The reason you don't want to drain them dry is because that will cut down your humanity. Humanity, if you lose enough, you will frenzy more easily. And if you frenzy in public, you get a Masquerade violation, and as previously said, 5 of those and it's game over. If you heard the whispering in the background, that's because we're Malkavian. And our character hears voices in her head. This poor guy. Okay. Well, as you can see, he's not really responsive, but we filled up our blood. Hi, Jack.
Yeah. Hell yeah, you're feeling it. I can see it in your eyes. You're a born-again predator. Feel that blood bubbling inside you, lifting you up. That's it, kid. That's what it's all about right there. Alright, you got the blood, you're feeling all kick-ass, feeling better than your best day living, but wait, it gets better. All kindred. Kindred, that's our word for vampire. All kindred have a few things in common. Things that set them right square above humans on the food chain.
Tell me this tale.
Like sharper senses, a body that can shake a beating, and if you play your cards right, eternal life. That's no sure bet, but still a chance at immortality's not a bad deal. And that's just for starters. Fringe benefits for joining the club.
My life will go on forever?
You can still be destroyed, but forget the books and the movies. Garlic is worthless. A cross? Shove it right up their ass. A steak? Only if it catches you in the heart, then it just paralyzes you. Running water? That's no problem. I bathe. Occasionally. Now, a shotgun blast to the head. Oh, that's trouble, boy. Fire? That's real trouble. Sunlight? Well, you catch the sunrise and it's all overkill. Yeah?
Like a bad sunburn.
Okay now. Other business at me. Yes, I
Oh, we also get some other benefits to being Malkavian. We can actually have a conversation with our TV later, as well as the radio. Oh, by conversation with the TV, I mean argument. It's basically somebody yelling at us for everything we've done. Because we become a horrible person.
Come down here. Stay away from the windows. Oh, it's a Sabat raid. Sabat. They're, Christ, I told you, spare this shit till later. Sabat. They're mostly mindless, bloodthirsty assholes. That's all you need to know for now, right?
Where does this path lead?
The Sabat got wind of the gathering here, so they figured they'd raise a little hell and put a little heat on it.
Tell me of the Jester Prince.
No time for political rundown. Job one, get out of here alive. Sabat might be mindless, but they hit like a Mack truck, like raging savages. Nothing a fledgling like he wants to mess with.
If not the sword...
Shh, shh. Heads up. Back away.
We've seen this guy before.